Hey guys, welcome back to the channel again. You're gonna wanna see this because this is brand new and I just got it. So let's get to it. Okay guys, so I couldn't wait to show you guys. So it just came in today, but I take a look at it. So let me show you what it is. This is the new Askar 140 millimeter triplet ED refractor. Let me just put this aside for a second. So for about 6 months now, at least I would say, I've been looking for another refractor, another large refractor. As you can see behind me, I am going to be selling the Takahashi TOA 150. Why? At 40 pounds, it is extremely heavy. It needs a really muscle arm from somebody younger or really in an observatory, you know. So I just rarely use it because it is so heavy, even though I'm just going from here to there. I think it's also a imager's scope, mainly being a very thick triplet. It takes a little bit to cool down. You know, I've tried the EvoStar 150. 150 is a good size, and I've said it years ago. I wish they made the EvoStar F7, you know, type of thing instead of F8. But because they don't use 53 glass, you know, they don't tell us what kind of glass, but since they don't tell us what kind of glass, they have to make it F8 to have a decent color correction and image quality. You know, I also behind me have the William Optics 126. You know, I haven't had it for that long. I would say probably about 7 or 8 months or something like that. But I feel like it's just a tiny bit too small. Now, as you guys know, I got here the Takahashi 102. Now that's what I call my grab and go. Even though it's a heavy 102 at like 15 pounds, maybe with the rings and the diagonal, it's probably 16 pounds. It's pretty heavy for a 4-inch refractor, but that's what I classify as my grab and go type of thing. However, as my serious planetary scope, the 5-inch is like where I consider the minimum. I like the 5 to 6 inch, around there. But again, Takahashi is just too heavy. And I don't think I need a really huge heavy triplet, and I'm not an imager anyway. Can't find the right balance. So I will be selling these two, and hopefully this guy is, I hope, gonna be my last type of thing. So this is the Askar 140 and Jessica from Sharp Star. We talked for a little bit. Now, I asked them if they can send me a loaner. I thought they would have a loaner program, but they don't. So I had to actually buy it. But I was already thinking of, what about a, you know, 5.5 inch to 6 inch, which is that sweet spot. A 6 inch could work again, but I'm hoping like a F7. And I just can't find one that's reasonable price, reasonable weight, everything combined with a decent glass. The APM also came out with a 140 millimeter double it with a 53 glass. So double it is perfect for me since I'm 95% visual and 5% smartphone imaging. So that's perfect. And 140 millimeter is 5.5 inch. So it's right between the 5 inch where I find that's my minimum for my serious refractor to the 6 inch. So it's right in the middle. Weight, I think everything's good. The glass is good, but it's pretty expensive, I believe. Now, don't quote me, but I'll put it on the screen. In Canada, it's about 4,000 before tax. Maybe it's even more now. I'll put it up. And it's too bad. I actually did contact APM, and I talked, you know, I wrote Marcus, and I asked him if he has one to test for my YouTube channel. Basically, what he said, I don't have every email, okay? Basically what he said is, oh, every YouTuber wants to test type of thing. But what's funny is on the forums about 2 months ago, roughly, I was reading where he was actually upset at everybody at Cloudy Nights. Why? There was some thread, maybe you guys seen it or read it, that, you know, people ask him to come out with this scope, so I assumed that one, the 140 millimeter doublet with 53 glass. Well, they have two versions, a 2.5 speed focuser, which is the one I would have got, and then they got the 3.7 inch, I think, focuser for more like the imagers, and then nobody buys his product. Well, so I said, okay, if he doesn't want to send it to me, it was kind of, I felt like a little bit, it was rude to me, type of thing. He could have just said it nicely, like, no, we don't have a rental program or a loaner program type of thing. But what's funny is when you go on YouTube, I'll put it up, and I looked at APM, there's one that's the promotion that has, I can't remember, 17 or 22 subscribers, and he shows one with the moon, which is great, and it only got 1,000 views in like 2 years. So I also emailed him on YouTube and saying, hey, listen, isn't it better if you're complaining on Cloudy Nights that people ask for you to make a telescope, you make it, and then you're upset that they're not buying it? Why don't you have people review it, like some YouTube channels, some reviewers? At least get the word out, get the promotion out, you know, type of thing. And I never heard back or whatever. And, you know, that's just my thinking. What do you guys think? I mean, if he has 17 or 22 subscribers on the promotional YouTube channel, why doesn't he contact? And there's a lot of YouTubers, doesn't have to be me, there's a lot of YouTubers that maybe could review it and he can get better traction, maybe he can make more sales. But anyway, enough of that. So I contact Jessica of Sharpstar. Now Sharpstar has like two divisions, okay? One is the Sharpstar model, which is I think a little bit higher end, and then the slightly lower end is the Askar name brand. Now the Askar name brand, I believe, is like their triplets refractors, but they're made with the lower glass 51, where the Sharpstar name brand is made with doublets or triplets, but with the higher grade 53 glass. Now, mind you too, those also cost more, that name brand. So for me, a 140 millimeter, okay, I don't necessarily need a triplet, but a triplet could actually be more better than a doublet with a 53 glass. Okay, the triplet might be a little bit heavier and a little bit more cool down. So those are the two minor things, but the price point on this guy is very good. Way better than the APM. I believe in Canada, I'll post it up, is $28.99. That's Canadian before tax, so about $3,000. So it's still at least cheaper for the same size. So let's take a look at this guy, and this is gonna be our review of it. Now, as you can probably see there, I'm not sure if you can see, it's a nice case, it's a nice soft case. Okay, so let's open her up. There we go. Okay, so the soft case is nice because sometimes when you get a hard shell case, it actually ends up being way bigger than what the soft case normally is. I don't have a measuring tape, so I cannot measure, but it looks to me like it's around 36 inches. So, like, very portable. In fact, it looks like it could almost be, I'm just gonna put the case down so we could have the telescope on the table. So this to me looks like it's around 32 inches. Again, I'm sorry I don't have a tape measure, but it's something like that. Has a nice finish. It's kind of like pebbled finish type of thing. Now, the first thing you notice is that the color kind of looks like a brown, almost like a cappuccino type of brown. It's not my favorite color, I guess, but it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? But I never thought of liking a kind of cappuccino caramel color, but I guess it's fine. It's really short. I mean, it looks like it could almost be like portable as far as like traveling by car, definitely. And I did weigh it, and that's with the Laws-Mandy's bar, the rings, this top plate. It's without a finder scope or diagonal or eyepiece. But the way that you see it right here is 24 pounds. 24 pounds for a 5.5-inch refractor is actually very good, considering it's a triplet. I mean, if it was a doublet, okay, then it'd probably be a tiny bit less. It's a nice metal cap, not plastic. And I'm just gonna open it up so you can see how. There we go. So that's a nice, for me, you know, portability is always, aperture and portability are actually not 1 and 2, are actually tied. And this is probably why the 6-inch f8 type of telescopes, they're okay for a few years, and then after that, it just seems like they're just a little bit too bulky. Those are not really heavy, those 6-inch. The Eagle Star, I believe, was about 22, 23 pounds roughly, and that's the lower model with the smaller rings and the entry-level focuser. So 23 pounds on a 6-inch f8 is decent. You know, this guy is about 40 pounds. It is extremely heavy. I could do it, but it's a chore. The rings are hinged rings. Again, it's the same color scheme. And the rings are, I wouldn't say heavy duty, but they're not light duty. This is better than the entry-level rings sometimes that you will even find in this size, or even sometimes in the 6-inch size. I won't say which name brands, but this seems to be a medium-duty ring, so I think that's great. They have a top bar here, which, you know, feels sturdy. You can carry it with that. Also has 2 thumb screws here. Okay, and you could also put like a guiding scope, that type of thing, or your finder up there if you don't like it to be close to here. But I probably won't use it as a finder. It's only f7, so which means that 2-inch eyepiece is going to be fairly wide. I probably might just put my Telrad or Rigel, and then there's no way you can't find anything, just that type of thing. What's nice here, it has 2 Vixens on each end. I really don't use these type of finder scopes anymore. I just don't need to. But for some of you that still like your traditional finder scope, that will come in handy. This has like a turret type of handle here where you can extend it. So I guess visually you would use this extended. That's another great feature of this, because if you want portability, you're going to shrink it and shrink this, and you probably are not going to find any type of telescope that's this compact for 140 millimeter. The thumb screw here that holds the dew shield, it's black. I think it would have been nice if it was the same color scheme as the telescope, but again, not a big deal. Again, this is very easy to use, this extender. Now, the other reason why they extend this is not just for portability reasons, is if you're going to be using it visually, you're going to need to extend it to have the full length of the focus. Now, if you like to use Barlow viewing, the Barlow viewer normally adds another, 6-7 inches of focus to it. So a lot of people find using bino viewers with most telescopes doesn't work, especially with reflecting telescopes and refracting telescopes. But with this one, if you are going to use bino viewers, you put it in, you'll lock it down, and now because you shrinked it by, I would say, about 8 inches roughly. Again, I don't have a tape measure, but something like that, at least 8 inches. That's going to be roughly what most bino viewers are anyway. The focuser is rotatable over here. I like how the 1.25" adapter here has 3 big screws here, so you can put your diagonal, instead of the cheap scopes might have 1 locking screw, some have 2, this one has 3. So every 120 degree, it's locking it nice and tight from all sides. So that's kind of neat. It feels nice and sturdy. Of course, all the fittings are brass compression. It's also etched, so you know exactly where your focus is, and once you lock it down, you're set. Now, what do I think about the dual speed focus? It is very beefy. I don't think you need to upgrade it at all for imaging or whatever you're going to put on there. It's going to suit you. I just wish, I just have to put a lot of effort to move it. And normally I like my focusers like a feather touch. You could just put a minor, you know, like just 2 little fingers, a feather touch, and you know, it moves. It has a brass tooth. It has a nice travel. I would say that's a good 5 inches of travel. Like I've said in other focusers that I've tested, where I like it to be a full tooth, 5 inch all the way. The teeth are on an angle instead of being straight, so that means it can hold the friction or more weight like that. But there is a lot of screws here, hex screws and grub screws. So I'm pretty sure that I can get this focuser to be smoother. But so far, everything looks good, it feels good. All the accessories that you need and want are here. I like this extender for visual. I like it, it compresses for not only portability, but a binder viewer. Maybe that's something I will look into next, but I've tried a few, but I just doesn't work with my eyes. Okay, let's take a look at the glass. Okay, again, it's a triplet. They say it's a 51 glass, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with using 51 glass as long as you make it well, you polish it well, a good mating glass with it, and with 3, it's going to have all 3 wavelengths come down at the same point. So you don't have to have a 53 glass, okay? But let's take a look at that lens. Okay, let's take a nice close look. Askar, 140 millimeter, tells you the focal length, 980, which is decent, which makes it an f7, and then it's a triplet ED. There's the serial number. It's nice and baffled all the way down. I don't see anything wrong, looks beautiful. Okay, so let me give you an overview here. There's the Los Mandes plate, handle or guiding scope, or you can use a finder scope up there. Decent rings. There's the accent, doesn't look too bad. The nice turret style for opening the extender. Here's the focuser. That's the fine focus and coarse focuser. This is how you can rotate the focuser. There's a base for a finder scope here and there. And the case. Okay guys, appreciate you guys taking a look at this guy with me. And let's see if this is gonna be my final telescope that I like. Again, it's 24 pounds, which is fairly light, or it's on par to what I'm looking for and the size of this guy. It's extremely portable. For this size, everything about it seems good. I'm hoping that this is gonna be what I'm looking for between portability and weight. And we just have to test the next time the quality and how does it look, let's say on the planets, on the stars, and does it put up a good image. But so far, for the money, okay, you cannot beat this price, okay? I'm happy with it. They also have 120 millimeter. If you think that 24 pounds is a little bit too heavy, the 120 ought to be a decent amount less. And then they have a 103 millimeter if you want to go that route as well. For me, I like bigger. I can't remember if the Askar 185 is about 40 pounds or 42 pounds, somewhere around there. My EQ6 only is rated for 40 pounds. Now I know if you balance it perfectly, that helps, but I'm still at the limit. I don't want to upgrade And this being 24 pounds, let's say 26 with the other couple things, is still well within the weight class of an EQ6. So I think for me that's good enough. It's a 5.5 inch. It's only half an inch less type of thing. So it's right in between this guy, these two, 5 inch and the 6 inch. It's right in the middle. Anyway, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching this show. I'll see you on the next video. If you know anybody getting in the hobby, share my link. If somebody's asked about this on the internet, he had enough. He was there the whole time listening. Share my channel with them. I also do have members Patreons videos where once a month I put a video that does not go on the regular channel, which is just for them. It is 99 cents. You have to subscribe to that. You don't have to if you don't want to or you can't afford. That's okay, but I'm trying to keep it as low as possible. And you're gonna see at least one video that I don't put on my regular channel. Plus I put your name on the description. Anyway, guys, why not you? Why not me? Okay, guys, as I thought, so there's 4 hex screws. You can see them right there, the white one. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's nothing in here or there. There is one here and one. So after doing that, so much smoother. That's basically what I wanted. But I have to try it, of course, under load, because that might be different. Because I know one time loosened it too much on a different scope, and then it was starting to slip when I put a bigger load on it. So it feels, this is how smooth I like it. Just a little touch, and as you can see, you can hardly see that it's just opening. That's how I like it. Feels much better. But of course, that's why they make that, so you can adjust it if you need. Okay, guys, amazing. 29 inches.